Welcome in, everyone, to Media Day at the 5th Annual Ellesse Pro Tennis Challenge. Alex Gruskin here. We have a fantastic slate of guests ahead as we get ready to kick off our first day of action. Now, for those of you unfamiliar or don't remember, we were here, of course, the last 3 years. It's always a fantastic week of play. You get 6 of the best players in the world coming to such an intimate location for a fantastic couple of days of tennis. And, of course, we would not be here this year, nor would we have been here in any of the previous iterations of this event. In fact, I feel safe saying this event would not exist without the tireless efforts of the man to my right, joining me here to kick off Media Day. It's tournament director for the Ellesse Pro Tennis Challenge, Ryan. Now, Ryan, it is always good to see your smiling face. I appreciate you having our Cracked Racquets team back. Talk me through your excitement levels as we get ready to kick off year 5 of this event.
You know, Alex, I think every single year the expectation is to just take this event to the next level, to get to where we want to try to always reach on the fringe of where we can go. And I think this year we've achieved that again.
Yeah.
Really excited. Have a world-class field here. Had a little bit of turnover, but me and Dave Emke, we, early mornings, late nights, we found a way, and we had to go to the bullpen a little bit. But
yeah.
The bullpen is a strength here at the Ellesse Pro Tennis Challenge, so we're really excited. Beautiful weather. Going to have some great crowds out here, and pumped to have Cracked Racquets in the house. You guys are a staple for the Ellesse Pro Tennis Challenge.
Well, I appreciate you saying that, and again, obviously, we are so thrilled to be back here as well. I want to talk about the field, talk about what's ahead over the next 2 days, but first and foremost, let's talk about this event, because again, it's year 5 of this Ellesse Pro Tennis Challenge, and we both know how much effort it does take to put together an event like this. The big question you ask is why? Why go through all of that effort? And obviously, I'm familiar with the story of this event and its purpose beyond just providing entertaining tennis to this community. For those tuning in who may be unfamiliar with that story, what this event goes about providing. Talk us through the importance of this Ellesse Pro Tennis Challenge to this tennis community.
Yeah, I think it's really twofold, Alex. I think number one is, this area has a rich tradition of tennis. Bringing pro tennis here with the legends of tennis for over 25 years, the Lavers, the Borgs, the McEnroes, the Nastasis, the Navratilovas from the 1990s through the 2000s and when I was growing up, and just people understanding from that generation what that meant, and then my generation seeing the tail end of that, but then not having that for 7-8 years. We had the opportunity to bring this back in 2020 with COVID and put it together in about 5 weeks. And it has just blossomed into this beautiful empty tennis garden. And, every year, like I said, it's one of those things where we feel that's our, that's what we owe it to this area to keep pro tennis here and protect that legacy as guardians of the game. So, certainly that is a huge part of this and why we put in the hundreds of hours and weeks and over the year, and then the sponsorship and the players and the infrastructure. And, we have some exciting things planned for the next couple of years. We want to keep this thing growing, and we want to continue to bring the very best in the world here at a world-class level. So that's part one. And then obviously the second part is our beneficiary here for the 3rd straight year, the City of Reading Core Tennis Program through the Reading Rec Commission, utilizing tennis as a platform to understand that we are doing something bigger and playing for something bigger than just ourselves. Utilizing tennis in an area in Reading that could definitely needs all the tools and resources and help that it can get. And we're here to be the shepherds of that and use pro tennis as an opportunity to raise money and funds for underserved youth and communities that, times are difficult, but we're able to provide some of that light in the darkness.
Absolutely. And I believe it's in Antietam High School last year that we were raising money for. And again, to have an effort like that, I know their coach was here this year to talk about how much of that event last season, raising money to raise awareness for a community that had just gone through such a horrible weather event and had to rebuild courts, rebuild facilities, do all of these things. I know last night we were joined by a core tennis member. I know the last name's Guerrero. Haley Guerrero, who is going to play Division II college tennis and continues her career, continues her educational pathway with tennis as well. It's really cool. And I've said this before. I know you've said this as well. To get some of the best pros in the world in this sort of intimate setting, it's just inspiring. Like, you see this sort of tennis. I know multiple core members have come and ball kitted over the years as well. It is the coolest thing. So credit to you guys who really ingratiate this community into this event. And look, you can have all these different pieces. None of it works if we don't have a venue to turn to.
Right.
And let's talk about the M-Key Tennis Garden. Let's talk about the M-Keys. Every time I walk in, it's our 4th year. Every year, I forget how beautiful just the foliage is to start. I mean, the flowers decorated to a T. Obviously, you walk in and there's just a waft of cookie smell coming your way. And for the record, my count's 16 to this point, in case you were curious. Look,
we are going.
I'm a unit. I like people. Underrated eater. I don't get enough credit. I run it
double dozen by the end of the day. Easy.
I run it off in the mornings. That's the real key. And I'll be sweating in the broadcast booth because it's going to get hot today. But can we talk about the M-Keys and their contribution to this tennis community, because this event doesn't happen without them?
No, absolutely. You know, the M-Keys are a staple of Berks County tennis. For decades. You know, the M-Key Tennis Garden turned 50 years old last year, which is insane to think about. But, you know, what they've meant to this area, this community, you know, this event, and the different ways that they've been able to impact, you know, this community in so many different ways has just been trifold. And we were honored last year as the 50th anniversary, in addition to have them enter the Berks County Tennis Hall of Fame as a family, the second family to ever have that. So just an honor and a privilege to work with them and be so close and have such a, you know, amazing relationship that we can work together to make this community and make this tennis, you know, a better place. So we're definitely, you know, excited to continue that tradition. And like I said, the best is yet to come. We have a lot of things planned. Yeah,
including this year's event, which obviously we have a stellar field. We just got to see Jan Chawinski, Lexi Galarno hit, each of them top 250 in the world, each of them hoping to head directly from here to U.S. Open qualies. Just to round out the field, Ryan Harrison, of course, former top 40 player in the world, French Open doubles champion. He'll be back this season. Holden Coons, who just put together an All-American year at Wake Forest, he's back. Yeah, Felix Corwin, standout player during his time at Minnesota, still, I believe, top 600 in the world. He's here as well. And then, of course, returning champion, fan favorite, save the best for last, Diadem's own KP Panu, of course, who's going to be providing our Showtime experience with our nighttime match. Again, a little bit of drama in putting this field together. It wouldn't be an event if we didn't have that sort of drama, just to keep you young, keep you awake. But talk me through what excites you most about this field.
You know, this field is dynamic. You have some of the veterans with Ryan Harrison. You have the young guys. You have the local talent with Holden Coons.
Sure.
And then you have...
Which is a really fun piece, by the way, because you did see people coming from an hour, York's an hour away. They did make the drive last year to come watch.
And then you have the magician, the showman, the guy that I think in the history of the event is just people just have this affinity and attraction to KP Panu. And he's just a great guy, salt of the earth guy, out there grinding away. And I think that resonates well with people here in this region. You talk about Philly sports and you talk about this region, and people love the players that wear their heart on their sleeve. They love when they put their heart on the line, and KP does that every single year. And that's why I think people just are attracted to wanting to come see him play and put on a show. Really pumped to have Diadem here to, you know, do some promotional things with him and continue to grow him and also continue to grow the brand. And we're going to have a lot of fun with it here in the next 2 days.
Absolutely. And you mentioned Diadem, one of many sponsors who help put together an event like this. It's a two-part question. One, I would love for you to talk about our sponsors here at this year's event and fans who are tuning in, how they can take advantage of those sponsorships as well. But two, and I don't want you to give away all the trade secrets. There's a reason he's the president-elect for USTA Middle States. But I guess the question is how, like, because everyone would love to put on an event like this, and of course not everyone will have access to the beautiful M-Key Tennis Garden as we do, but how do you get the sponsors to keep buying in year after year? Because to me, that's the most impressive part.
Right. You know, I think the biggest thing is sponsors they want to see a lot of different things. They want to see, you know, their name out there. They want to see them, you want to be associated with something that is successful, something that fits the goals, aspirations, marketing trends of what their company is and how they want that to look. But also, you know, just understanding that what our cause is for and our mission allows them to really have a positive light in the community. So, you know, you couple that with, We always have different things. We added the lights last year. We're working towards a couple big announcements in the coming weeks and months as we progress into 2025.
This was the first tournament with Vaptor as well.
Yeah.
I will say that from the get-go. You guys started the Vaptor trend.
Yep. And the Vaptor is now over all the all the majors and all the thousands and ATP 500s that are they all have it. And it was just a blessing that Justin and the crew from Vaptor were able to work with us that second year of our event, but the first kind of full year we had fans here after COVID, and that has again just kind of blossomed into a wonderful relationship, and we love working with Vaptor and the team, and and Diadem, they're family to me, and it's one of those things where that company has grown unbelievably since 2016, and is in tennis, is in pickleball, is in rackets, is in clothing, is in strings, is in shoes. And that's, something that, resonates just like, you see, I talked about KP and wearing your heart on your sleeve and that underdog and up and coming. That's Diadem. Diadem's up and coming. It's a brand. It's an all-American brand, and the quality is there, though. I don't put my stamp of approval or my name or my back into things I don't believe in or use myself or let our academy kids and Diadem is that. It really is, and I'm excited and blessed to have them here to support our event and do some amazing things with KP this weekend.
Yeah, and I know some of those things we have available, again, for fans who tune in. Ellesse, you go to the Ellesse website, you use the promo code C, R 30, CR30. You're going to get 30% off all Ellesse gear over the course of this week. I also know we're having some fun with Diadem tonight, not just, again, a set deal, but it's going to be tied to our action tonight with KP, correct?
Absolutely. I'm not going to give away the full promotion. We're going to let Lynn from Diadem talk about that in a second, but, KP is going to be ringing up an ace count, and there's going to be a discount associated with how many aces he's hitting tonight against Ryan Harrison, tomorrow in his second match. So, we're excited, and there's not a better guy to do that, to put on the show. KP has all the, the trick shots, and he doesn't do it just to show off, but he has an unbelievable way to infuse it into the match and just do it in a very organic way. And but people, like I said, they're attracted to that and that entire type of match style and gameplay. And we're just really excited to have the Diadem night session here at the Ellesse Pro Tennis Challenge and put on a show under the lights.
Yeah, we are looking forward to it. And again, our schedule looks as follows. We're going to have more Media Day interviews coming up. Jan Chewinski, Lexi Galarno sitting right off to my side, so we'll bring them in. I know our friend Lynn from Diadem is going to be joining me here as well. We'll try to talk with Felix Corwin. We'll try to talk to Holden Coons, who are here on site as well. I believe we should be able to sneak in Ryan Harrison as well. After that, 1 p.m., 3 p.m., 5 p.m., 7:30 p.m. Correct me if I'm wrong. Those are our 4 match times here today.
Yep.
And then tomorrow we'll have 2 group play matches. I want to say 11 and 1.
11 and 12:30.
11 and 12:30. Thank you in the morning, followed by our championship match. TBD on the start time there. Just depends how everything flows.
After suitable rest.
After suitable rest. Spoken like a true tournament director. And look, again, no rest for the weary here this week. We got Media Day to come. We got more matches to come. Don Hutch Hutchinson will be joining me in the broadcast booth, just making it a better event. But sincerely, none of this happens without your tireless efforts, and we really appreciate it here at Crack Rackets, you having us back to this event. It is one of my favorite events we do all season long. I'm really looking forward to how these next couple of days play out. So Ryan R., thank you as always for joining us.
Thank you, Alex. And like I said, www.newcobrands.com. You can get your tickets there for today. For tomorrow, we have also a high school promotion, $20 tickets, $5 off all high school players. And get that CR30 code. You get 30% off on newcobrands.com, all your Ellesse gear. Got to rep the brand here. Beautiful weather, beautiful day. We're in for some great tennis. So thank you guys very much.
Love to hear it, Ryan R. Thank you for joining me. Welcome back in, everyone, to Media Day here at the 2024 Ellesse Pro Tennis Challenge. Joining me now is a returning champion here on our Cracked Rackets platforms, a man you all will know best as a Davis Cup champion, also an ATP Challenger champion, top 225 in the world. It's Alexis Galarneau joining us once again. Lexi, it is always good to see a fellow AG. It's been far too long. Talk me through, you just got your first hit here on this beautiful tennis court. Talk me through your first reaction to this Ellesse Pro Tennis Challenge.
Well, I arrived last night very late, so didn't get to see much of the surroundings. But this morning we drove in. We got picked up by Jim, who greeted us with a big smile, and just, I mean, the hosting just to start with. I mean, it's been unbelievable, the hospitality. Getting here, I mean, this is a beautiful facility or house. Yeah. I mean, you don't see this every day. So my first hit was amazing. I hit with Jan, so we had a good hour hit, playing on a surface that's basically US Open, so it's great preparation, and we're just trying to enjoy the next few days, and then head to New York.
Yeah, well, let me just say the game still looks good, my friend. I was telling you that contact point was exactly like I remembered it, and you sort of mentioned again US Open on the horizon. I think right now you're 7 out from qualifying, something we'll be monitoring all day certainly, but talk me through. I know it's been it was a delayed start to your 2024 season, but we were just joking around how you've been chasing that calendar ever since. You come from Santo Domingo on Tuesday to here now playing on Thursday. Talk me through your 2024 season, how the year's gone for you so far.
Yeah, it's been, like you said, delayed a little bit, so some ups and downs, but it's been good. I'm seeing a progression from, every week, working on my game, working on different aspects as well, so I feel like it's coming together. Last few weeks I maybe haven't been getting the results I wanted, but I feel like I'm playing good tennis, and it's just a question of time. So to come here as well and play a few matches is never bad, and can keep working on some of the stuff that I've been working on. So it's been a good season, been a really good season, with some good results, some results where it's a little bit more disappointing, but that's tennis.
Sure.
And looking to finish the year strong. I'm excited about, we've been looking at my calendar, and it looks like it's tournaments that I'm excited to play, and also on a surface that I'm comfortable on. So it should be a good end of the year.
Yeah, and, again, this is how we're really nerding out. It's also how we're getting older. I want to ask you about that scheduling question, because the closer I am to this game, the more I realize, you guys are all really good at tennis, and that's going to get there. But I feel like half the battle is trying to figure out what the right schedule looks like. And for you this year, I think you hit your career high back in May, 150 range. Again, do you go play 250 qualies? Do you go play challengers? How has that scheduling balance worked for you? Have you gotten better at it?
I think I have. I've gotten better, or at least I think.
Okay.
But again, there's no right or wrong answers. Everyone has a different path, so that includes scheduling. Some guys get to the top 100. That's my goal. The next goal for me is to get into the 100s. So if that means playing more 250s or playing more challengers to kind of secure your spot. The way I see it now is I got a good push ahead of me with not as much point to defend, and also start of next year, being held this year, it gives me a little caution to really push forward. And yeah, me and my team will have to look at maybe playing a few 250s. I played 2 weeks ago on Masters 1000, and I mean, I like those events. I like big tournaments. I think that brings out the best of my tennis. So hopefully I'll get some chances at those.
You talk about that Masters experience. You just played Rinky there, final round qualifying. I know, not to bring up the old wound, 7-6 in the third there. How close do you think your level is? How big is the difference? You're going to play Challenger 1 week versus 1,000 level the next week. How big is that gap between the level you're seeing week in, week out?
It's very, very tiny. I played Rinky three times this year, and of course he had to get me in my own backyard. But it was a good match. I definitely had my chances. Rinky is never going to be an easy match, and I knew he was going to keep fighting. But if we talk about levels, I think my level is there. Now it's about backing it up with some results and putting good results after good results.
And I think it's 6 Challenger quarterfinals or better for you this season, which again, considering your year really started in April, that is a lot of success in a short period of time. Do you, if you could go back, obviously injury aside, do you think you played too much this year? Like, it's been a lot of events. Have you found the right balance for you? Maybe it's 3 weeks on, 1 week off. How do you go about balancing that?
I think I'm doing a much better job in that sense because how you track it is with maybe injuries.
Sure.
And I've been healthy, knock on wood.
Yeah.
But I mean, I've been healthy since
I will give you
January.
my hip if you need it. Yeah, just say the word.
I'll take
You don't want my shoulder, trust me.
But yeah, I've been healthy, so that's the sign that my scheduling has been better.
Good.
And yeah, for me, maybe 3-4 weeks on the road and then coming back for a week, or coming back for a few days even, just to reset. Also see my team, my physio, osteo, massage therapist, the whole deal.
Yeah.
And that just helps me, take a little step back and push forward again. And that's what my team has helped me kind of realize.
Yeah, and correct me if I'm wrong. Obviously, this season, I think it was the Challenger final earlier this year in Mexico City, if memory serves me correct. I believe last year was that first Challenger title in Granby as well. And I'm just curious, going back to that Granby moment, to have been as close as you were for so long, to finally get that first Challenger title, get to do it on home soil relatively as well. How significant a moment was that for you?
Yeah, it was huge. It was huge. My whole family, except my sister, she was traveling abroad, but having almost all my family there, watching me through the whole week was just an amazing feeling. Felt like going back to junior tournaments where we'd go up north, play the tournament. Whole family comes together. And
where's up north for you? The North Pole?
No, yeah, almost. Playing and sleeping in igloos and stuff like that.
Yeah,
so.
sure.
But no, it was really, really cool and a key moment in my career so far, and it's also to chase more moments like that.
Yeah.
That's why we play.
How did that compare? Because that is an individual moment. And look, you were an All-American. You've had team success before. How does a moment like that compare to being a part of the Davis Cup run that you were in, bringing back a Davis Cup title to Canada, the first in the nation's history? How do those moments compare at this point?
It's hard to compare them because all of these experiences are so different, like how you live them, but also an amazing moment. Getting to share it with Felix, who's my childhood best friend, Dennis, who's also a really, really good friend of mine, Gabriel, who we've created a bond since Davis Cup and kind of playing challengers together. To share the moment with them was very, very cool. And then also to share that moment with the federation after winning it all. We kind of all just got together, and I mean it's the work of so many people behind the scenes that make this happen, and to see everyone getting rewarded for all their effort is something special.
Is that something you will continue to do every year if asked, like that Davis Cup experience? Because it's a lot of tennis, right? You're committed to kind of 2 months of different sort of events. Is that something you will commit to moving forward? And how is that team experience? Especially, those are all young guys, right? Like you guys are all mid-early 20s. There had to have been a fun celebratory night out afterwards.
For sure. It's important. And but we also have, I like it because we've had kind of a mix of young and experience with Vasek and Milos coming in and joining the team. The year we won, it was Vasek who kind of led the young team. And everyone knew their role, and I think that's why we do so well. I think everyone is understandable and understands the role, and that's why it makes it so pleasant for me to join the team whenever I get a chance and get a call. So I'll always be interested in playing it because I mean representing Canada, and then also just the team environment feels like college again. Feels like growing up with 3 other siblings. It's good times always.
Yeah, I can imagine. This is going to be a dumb question, I'm just warning you. What's more difficult, being the guy like you were at NC State, or kind of getting to be that 4th guy and like that energy guy as you were for Davis Cup? What's the tougher role?
Oh, that's a good question. I think both bring different challenges.
Yeah, sure.
On one side, being the guy, obviously it's nice because I like
You're the
pressure.
guy.
Yeah, you're the guy. You have to perform. There's certain expectations on you. So, and you're also leading.
Yeah.
I'm someone that likes. I think I can be a good leader. So, that role is a little bit more defined. Whereas if you're, floor for, like the bench warmer,
Yeah, sure.
then you have a different role, but you can also lead in a different aspect. It's not on the tennis court necessarily, but more so just keeping the atmosphere good, which I also think I can do pretty well. I'm someone that adapts pretty quickly, so yeah, they're in comparison. If I had to choose one, I mean, I think being the guy would be. That's my goal.
I think that's the right answer. Yeah,
yeah,
it makes sense.
It's not gonna be easy because we've got a bunch of good players in Canada now. So, but that's what I thrive to get.
No, makes a lot
at some point.
Makes a lot of sense. And yeah, to your point, I guess it's fun. You got to experience the best of both worlds. But yeah, absolutely. I always say it's harder to watch than it is to play.
That's right.
Yeah, like without question.
That's right. You don't control as much.
Yeah, I know. You're like Felix. Like it's a forehand. Come on, man. So I totally understand that burden. But let me just say again, you were a good leader. You are quite the guy during your time in college and still now. Last three questions for you with your game specifically. And you've always been a smooth ball striker. You've always liked to take that ball a little bit early, on the rise. Has that translated as well to the pros as you've thought, particularly not just the pros itself, but across surfaces, right? I'm curious what adjustments you felt you've applied most to your game in your first couple of years of pro tennis.
Not easy to apply on every surfaces. Sure. But I play mostly on hard court, but I'm starting to try to play a little bit more on clay, I think.
I've noticed.
Yeah, and I think that can be good for my game to develop different aspects, but also it can translate well with my game. I mean, I think, like you said, I'm a good ball striker, so I can get into long rallies, work my points out, kind of dictate the points, and on clay, that's definitely doable. The more and more I'll play on it, I'll get more comfortable. Also, grass has been a really fun experience.
Yeah.
Only got to play Wimbledon this year, but still, I mean, I think next year will be super fun and interesting to go back on it, and probably gonna play the grass swing before that. Sure. I think it can also translate well with my game, taking it early, trying to move into the net as much as possible. So yeah, it's. Obviously, the transition hasn't been as smooth as you expect, but I think even if I look at my whole career, like I've always been just a steady, progressor or whatever the term is.
Sure.
But
steady riser. We'll go with.
Yeah, steady riser, and just keep doing the right things, and good things happen. And I mean, I have proof every year that I'm getting better. So,
is there a specific piece you're working on right now, maximizing the weapons or high backhands? Something silly like that. Is there something you're focused on?
No, I think no specific areas that I'm working, but just trying to get more aggressive. Sure. I think you see it with most of the guys, like they're dictating the points and they're going for their shots, so just applying that a little bit more to my game.
Sure, makes sense. Not that you weren't already doing that, but I'm only
Can
curious.
always be better.
Yeah, sure. I love to hear that. Well, then, last two for you. Knowing what you know now, would you still go to college? Would you stay 100%. As long as you did?
100%. Yeah. 5 years was a lot, but I mean, I wouldn't trade it for anything else. Didn't plan to go for a 5th year, but it worked out great for me to go an extra year. I feel like I really maximized everything I could in 5 years with great coaching staff, great teammates. I think that's what made my experience so awesome. When you're in an environment that's so fulfilling and just makes you want to get better, it's easy to follow, and also to transcend that energy into the next level.
Have you been able to sell Tennis Canada on sending more players to college? Is that something they've asked you?
No. I think naturally they're seeing that that's
Yourself,
credible
Gab,
path. Yeah.
Liam.
No, exactly. It's
Yeah.
a credible path, and more guys that are coming through the National Training Center are most likely going to start committing to colleges. Actually, one of the guys going now to NC State, Nico,
Love that.
who committed. So I think it's going to be a great fit for him, and I think he'll do great things. But no, I'm not. Hopefully, at some point, the federation. Well, they're already supporting college players, in the summer and stuff like that. So I think they see that it's a viable path, and I think that's all you can ask. Like, it's already a great start.
Makes sense. What do you think your NIL number would be if you were to go back for a season? We talking like 50? Come on, I think at least.
I don't know. I wish.
Are you sad you missed out by like a year?
Yes.
Yeah, me too. On your behalf. I keep thinking, like, how much would Will have made that final season? Anyways, discussion for a different time. Here's my last question for you. I want to ask every player this. Olympics just finished. It's been a theme of late. But I'm curious. You win a first major singles title or an Olympic gold medal in singles? What you picking and why? Yeah, I got to throw one at you.
Yeah. Caught me off guard there. I'll have to go with a... Gotta go with a Grand Slam.
Yeah.
I think that's most of the tennis player. Olympics, I mean, I watched it, and I mean, it's amazing, but a Grand Slam is, I think we work towards more that than winning an Olympic medal.
Yeah.
And yeah, I don't know.
No,
I'll rethink about that one.
Here's the thing. You already did it for your country. Like, you got that Davis Cup ring. You brought it home. So, yeah, exactly. So, this next one's for him. I'm going to say this to every player, but I'm going to be rooting for you this weekend. And I think we know which one I mean it to, but no, sincerely, Ellesse Glenrod, it is always good to see you, my friend.
Thank you very much.
Congratulations on all the success. Looking forward to watching you compete this weekend.
Awesome. Thanks.
Welcome back in, everyone, as we continue Media Day here at the 2024 Ellesse Pro Tennis Challenge. I am joined by one of our sponsors who helped make today's event happen. Of course, you will see their logo up in the background and across our screen throughout the course of today's broadcast. It's Lynn Robinson from our friends at Diadem. Lynn, first of all, thank you for tolerating my nonsense, taking the time to join us. How are you doing today?
I'm good, thank you. Thank you for having me.
Oh, of course.
Great to be here.
It is great to have you here. And talk me through, you got to be here for the VIP player party. You got to enjoy some of last night's festivities. Obviously, we've watched these players warm up, but this event's a little different than everything else, right? What's your first impressions here of the Ellesse Pro Tennis Challenge?
Yeah, it's great. I really learned about the tennis community here in Pennsylvania and how intimate it is.
Yeah.
And we're in this beautiful location. They call it the Tennis Garden. So you're learning about all the different tennis pathways everybody's had in Pennsylvania, how this event was started, how some of the profits are going to the underprivileged kids in the community here. And it's just everybody's very hyped and excited for this event.
Yeah.
So it was great to see how like everyone in this community has come together. And then especially last night, people they were players in Ryan's high school. They played for him on his team, or they're just like workers in the event, or just local community members. It was great to meet everybody.
Yeah, really fun. I just feel like you don't see this in a bunch of different tennis communities. And to your point, it speaks to how special this one is in particular, that so many people from the high school level, obviously former teammates, friends of the family, whatever it may be, everyone's ready to come out, come celebrate this event. And that leads me to, obviously, we wouldn't have this event without the support of people like you at Diadem. Talk me through why Diadem wants to partner with an event like this, and what's going on with all things Team Diadem.
Yeah, so Diadem over here is, we're based in Florida, who everybody doesn't know. And so we've worked with Ryan basically from the start now. And he's a big component of Diadem. He hangs up all of our banners in his facility. Most of his juniors are up here, and they're using our rackets now. And so he was telling me about this event probably for like 3 months now. And for 2 weeks he couldn't I couldn't have a conversation with him about him mentioning the pro event. And then so we were thinking about a lot of ways we could collaborate with the event and basically use our brand, because we are a brand that is tennis for everybody. We want to give any junior, any adult player, anybody who basically loves tennis or wants to just take a shot at the sport, an opportunity to have rackets and strings, and that's what our brand is all about. As a newer company, like, we're trying to really break into the industry in any way that we can. And so this is a great event to really be a part of a community, and like be in a smaller event, we can really show like what we're able to showcase. And then this is like kind of a forefront of Diadem, like a smaller event. We don't need to be at the US Open or something like that. We want to really be community based and like individual, more personable with everybody. And it's been great to see the collaboration we've been able to build. And then so we decided we have a lot of products on the line coming up. If nobody's seen, we just released a Dream racket, which is basically our third line of like performance rackets now.
Because there's the Elite, right?
So there's the Elevate.
Elevate, that's what it is. Yeah, sorry. Elevate 98 and the, I'm blanking.
And the Nova 100.
Nova 100.
Yeah, and so we're on the version 3s of all of those rackets now.
Okay, sure.
And then so now we released the Dream.
Okay, I like that. How does the Dream differ? Talk me through it.
So we have a 10, so these are oversized heads.
Okay.
So it's a 105 and 110. And so it's a little bit on the lighter side of rackets too with the oversized, but it's with the same technology as the Nova has.
Gotcha.
So they're still very playable. They still you get a lot of power for them, a lot of flexibility with our FS technology.
Sure.
And those rackets are for anybody who has used an oversized racket, like Serena Williams used an oversized racket her entire life. But it could just be for your recreational player, like adult, and definitely a lot of people here would love that Dream.
Yeah, no, and again, both prior rackets, the Elevate, the Nova, I've had the pleasure of using. I know a lot of different college teams, too, are all in on all Diadem stringing and all Diadem strings that you guys offer. And again, that speaks to the growth of your company since 2016. It's kind of a point you've already mentioned, but to be community-based in how you're trying to grow. Why is that the strategy, if you'll allow me to ask? How does, again, targeting events like this, as opposed to trying to just pay all that money to get into a U.S. Open or whatever, why has that been the approach you guys take?
Well, so we kind of look at it as like a ground-up approach.
Okay.
And so we're trying to enter everybody knows Head, everybody knows Wilson, and
Sure.
all like the US. So they are going to sponsor the big tournaments. But if we really start from the ground up and get people to using our stuff and not just getting like 1 or 2 pros, and try to get more players and like more people using Diadem, and whenever you're at a tournament, you see 10 of our bags on the court maybe, instead of just like 2. And so we care more about helping the players who are really trying to succeed in tennis and get to the higher level from now, and have them grow with us as a brand.
Yeah, I love that. And to your point, I think you were just at the girls 12s?
Yes.
And just that's where it starts. Like that is truly grassroots. So shout out to you for that foundational level of support. Sincerely, I think tennis needs more of that moving forward. Obviously, you guys have some cool things planned for this event in particular. We have a Diadem player, KP Panu, in the field. Talk me through the special offer being offered to anyone tuning into the event this week. If they want to go check out Diadem gear, what can they pick up?
Yeah, so for any Ace KP hits, it's 3% off.
Okay.
Diadem gear. So or any Diadem stuff. Any
Diadem
tennis
anything.
Stuff. And tennis stuff.
Okay. Perfect.
Tennis gear.
Gotcha.
And so even if he hits that underhand serve and it's a little ace that Ryan might let him hit later tonight, that could count towards it. And it's going to be capped at 50%.
Okay, so again, 6 aces, that's 18%.
Yes.
12 aces, 36%. That 18th ace or 17th ace is where we stop and we say, okay, we're at 50%, we're going half off. That's freaking awesome. It's really cool. And so, and again, it's all gear, right? It's rackets, it's strings, it's all tennis-related gear, all 50% off.
Even we might be throwing in apparel to that now, actually, too.
I like that.
Because and all of our apparel you can use for tennis. So.
Yeah, very cool. And by the way, it's not just tennis, right? At Diadem, it's all racket sports. Talk to me about the outs, because tennis viewers now, they're getting into pickleball, they're getting into paddle, all the different things. It's all racket sports at Diadem?
So not all racket sports, but we're doing tennis, and many of you might know us for pickleball.
Yeah, sure. All right.
We got the Speed Pro, we got the Power Pro, we got the iconic Icon paddle over at Diadem.
I like that.
And the Vice, which everybody knows because it had the holes in it and was supposed to create a lot of spin. And then it was one of the first paddles to not be legalized. But now, now we're really focused in pickleball, and we're releasing paddles very recurrently. All the time we're releasing these new paddles. We actually just released a new quiet paddle called the Hush.
Okay. I like that.
And that's even a performance paddle as well. So you could go out, and if you're a good player, you could use that. And it's the pitch on the ball, like when it hits the ball, is a little quieter.
Okay.
So that's it. And then
I think that's what everyone's looking for.
Yeah, exactly. So, and you're like your local community like this one, if people are complaining about the sound of the ball going off the paddle,
it's perfect.
The Hush would be perfect for you guys.
That's right. Again, it's even well named. Again, with the Hush. That's good branding right there. My last 2 questions for you. Have you noticed the crossover appeal? People are playing pickleball. They'll come back and check out some Diadem tennis gear as well. Like, there is crossover appeal, right? Everyone wants to say it's one or the other. I just think that couldn't be further from the truth.
Yeah, there's definitely crossover appeal because many pickleball players now did play tennis at one point.
Sure.
And then tennis players are now also wanting to try pickleball.
Yeah.
And so pickleball, everybody knows they're a pickleball company, but not everybody knows tennis.
Okay.
And so we're able to really talk about both with our customers and get them to try our rackets, try a paddle, and hopefully get both. Like I always have this one client. He's in middle of Ohio.
Sure.
He's all racket sports. He's tennis and pickleball. He gets all things Diadem, and he just because he tried our tennis rackets originally, then he was like, I want to try the paddle. Then he tries the tennis rack again. Yeah. So there is still a lot of crossover in the industry, as much as you get the tennis players saying, oh, I don't ever want to try pickleball. I don't like that sport. Yeah. Same thing with pickleball and tennis.
Yeah.
So.
I know. I love to hear that, and that's so funny. I know Diadem is a tennis company first and foremost, but love to see, again, you guys getting into pickball and just growing racket sports more broadly. My last question for you. I'm not going to ask you to make a prediction because I think we know you'd go the way of KP. But any final thoughts? Any things you're excited for as we get ready for this tennis to start here later today?
Yeah, well, I'm excited to see all these players go at it. And I've heard even though it's a fun event, there's a lot of competition going on between the players, and some of them might take it pretty seriously.
Yeah, it gets a little choppy.
Yeah, a little choppy. So I'm excited to see how that goes, and then basically how the whole event plays out. Like, we have some high school coaches coming over. We're going to talk to them, hopefully some college coaches as well, to tell them about our programs. And then hopefully KP does win the whole thing. We'll see what happens.
I love to hear.
I know he just got in last night from Dominican Republic.
It's perfect. No, I think Lexi Glarno just got in from Santo Domingo as well.
Yeah.
We've got a well-traveled group amongst us, yourself included, and obviously really looking forward to having you here and appreciate the support from the Diadem teams of Liberal and Robinson. Thank you very much for joining me.
Thank you for
Hope you
having
enjoy
me.
your first Ellesse Pro Tennis Challenge.
Thanks. Happy to be here.
Welcome back in, everyone, as we continue Media Day here at the 5th Annual Ellesse Pro Tennis Challenge. Joining me now, a returning champion here on our Cracked Racquets streams. And as I mentioned, you could technically blame him for everything that's happened here at Cracked Racquets over the last 5 years, as he was a part of our first ever broadcast here on our Cracked Racquets YouTube channel. Of course, now we know him, top 600 player in the world, futures champion, standout during his time at University of Minnesota. It's Felix Corwin joining us once again. Felix, it is good to see you, my friend. It's been far too long. Talk me through. You got your first hit in here at the MK Tennis Garden. How have you enjoyed your first 24 hours here at this Ellesse Pro Tennis Challenge?
Good to see you too, Alex. It's been great. I came straight from the airport yesterday. Came in, had a really nice event yesterday. Kind of got the lay of the land. Met a lot of awesome people. It's a really cool community here to get to know and to be acquainted with. Yeah, I got first hit this morning. Super nice court. Got the U.S. Open balls. And yeah, pretty straightforward, but nice start to the trip.
No, I imagine, and obviously for you, you know, we had the chance to talk about this a little bit off camera, but you took a year off. You went and coached at Purdue for a season and got to work under your former head coach, Jeff Young. Then while there, you got the itch to go play again. And I'm just curious, you know, talk me through that process of when you realized during your coaching stint, like, hey, like, I think I got a little more pro tennis left in me, and why ultimately you did make that decision to go back out there on the pros.
Yeah. it definitely was a tough choice. Like in the first place, when I started at Purdue, I wasn't done mentally as a pro tennis player. I just had a really awesome opportunity that was presented to me to coach with my own college coach at Minnesota, Jeff Young. When he took the job at Purdue, he came to me with this offer to coach with him, and that was just really exciting, and I wanted to take that chance. And yeah, like you said, when I was there, I realized I still wanted to play some, wasn't done as a pro player. So that was a tough choice, just because working with Jeff was an amazing spot to be, really awesome days learning under him. But yeah, happy with my choice nonetheless. I love traveling, love playing events like this and traveling the world and competing. So it's definitely been an unorthodox ride, but yeah, I definitely wouldn't change any of the choices I made.
You were still hitting, obviously, as the assistant coach and playing during your time at Purdue. How quickly or how long, I suppose, did it take for you to feel like, okay, my tennis is fully back, and dare I say, get back to the match tough point maybe you were before you stopped playing?
Yeah, I thought it would happen quicker than it did. Like, because to answer the first question, I was hitting a decent amount with the guys on the team. At least a couple times a week I was doing live ball with them, so I wasn't entirely out of shape. But to speak to the match shape and the match toughness, that definitely took a lot of time to get back. So I would say first few months was kind of strenuous, getting the feel back in that regard. But then yeah, I'd say probably maybe 6 months in, I felt like I was back to a very similar competing level that I was pre-Purdue.
Is the hardest part for me, and again, not to compare our two games, but for me, the hardest part in picking tennis back up, it's the first step after I hit a serve. Like, I just forgot, like, oh yeah, you landed the serve. Don't forget, now you got to play out the point. Like, I swear, ground stroke games, I can pick those up at any point and it'll be fine. It's like it's like the first shot after the serve or the first shot after the return where I lost my head. Is that the little things that take a little more time?
Yeah, I think that quick bang bang at the start of the point, like returning a serve, and then, like you mentioned, that first shot off your own serve, that's probably the things that took the longest to get back. Yeah, once the rally gets going, the hitting, maybe the movement will go away as I start to age, like over the duration of my life, but I don't think the hitting will probably go that far. Yeah, like you experience as well.
You're stuck with that forehand for the rest of your life, my friend.
It's there.
Yeah, it'll
forehand to backhand. It's not going
yeah, exactly. And you know, again, in coming back, you've been able to build your ranking back up. Obviously, you've had some 25K level success. You've started to dip your toes back into challengers and challenger qualifying as well. How rigorous does that schedule look for you over this final third of the season as you try to build your ranking back up towards that 450, 400 range?
Honestly, in the U.S., there's a pretty big string of good events to play between the challengers and the 25Ks, also some 15s, the smaller ones. But I'm hoping to be able to play a majority of those, just because those are great events to play, easy for me to get to, and if I'm healthy, I feel like it's a good opportunity to make that jump you're referring to. So yeah, out of this next I don't know, 13, 14 weeks, I hope to be able to play at least maybe 9 of those, 8 or 9, where I can kind of string some weeks together and get a lot of tournaments in. But typically I like to keep it to 3 weeks in a row max to kind of pace out the schedule. It's I think it helps the level to be able to play the matches and then take a step back, get back to Bradenton where I live and work on some things and then get back out there. I don't like to do more than 3 or so in a row, but when there are great tournaments like that to play, like maybe I would stretch that out depending on how the body and the game's feeling.
No, makes a lot of sense to me. Have you noticed a different approach for yourself now in these pro matches, having had some time to step away from the game and maybe reflect on, because you come out of school, you're chasing right away, right? You're trying to go get points. You're trying to play matches. How is the perspective different for you now as you're going through this process?
Yeah, I think the process focused mindset is a little easier for me to come by now, and not just being that externally motivated sort of result-based thinking. I think that's come a lot easier. Just like you said, being able to see the sport from a different lens and kind of see how different people approach it and how I'd like to be as a competitor.
Sure.
It's definitely, I think, been a big improvement for me mentally over the past year since I've been playing again.
Yeah, no, that's good to hear. You mentioned the move to Bradenton. Is there ever a moment where a kid from Wisconsin stops feeling like a dehydrated fish out of water when you make that move to Florida, or have you grown comfortable with all things Florida lifestyle?
No, I love training down there. Yeah. I would say whenever I'm there, I always feel like that dehydrated.
Yeah.
But the moments when I don't feel like it are when I'm in places like this where the weather's a little more mild, and I've been in Florida a couple weeks, grinding those 2-a-days out in the Florida heat and humidity. So I definitely feel some dividends paying when I'm playing on a court in less intense conditions.
You're Florida tough now. I could see it in that hitting session we just saw unfold. And I'm curious, being down in Florida, having had the opportunity to train with some elite players week in, week out, how are you feeling about your game as we head to, obviously this week's action, but more broadly as we're heading towards the home stretch?
Yeah, I feel really confident with it. I'm playing with guys like Martin Dam, Jerry Shang, Michael Moe, Shapovalov. So like really high quality players among others. Yeah. But I feel like I'm playing at their level a lot of these hits. So it definitely gives me confidence when I go to events like this. I'm not feeling like a fish out of water, to bring that analogy back, but I feel very prepared, and it's a really good place to play. It's a very high intensity environment there, and it's definitely ideal for kind of putting myself into situations like this weekend.
Yeah, no, I love to hear. Well, then, my last two questions for you. Obviously, big week of tennis. Big 2 days of tennis coming up. It's potentially 3 matches in 2 days, and to be in a venue like this. Talk me through what you're hoping to get out of these 2 days, and how excited you are for this tennis to get underway.
Oh, I mean, I'm stoked. Result-wise, it's pretty high level, so I couldn't begin to predict how it's going to go, whether it's awesome, bad, anywhere in between. But I hope to enjoy the tennis and just kind of soak in the environment, because it's way different than where I'm playing typically. So however it goes, enjoy it. And then for each match, I like to write down a few like those process goals, whatever I'm trying to focus on, working my game specifically. So I got some of those things in the back of my mind that hope to continue to work on throughout the weekend.
I love that. Well, then my last question for you, and I'm asking everyone this question, in the spirit, Olympics just wrapped up. Olympic gold medal in singles or first major singles title? Which would you rather have? I know we were talking about this a little bit yesterday.
Yeah, and I thought more about it in the evening, because it's for sure on the singles side. I think being an American, I anticipate nothing would compare to like winning a U.S. Open. Yeah. So I think I would take the slam over the gold medal. But if we're talking doubles, that's a different question. Yeah. I think I would take a doubles gold over a doubles slam.
Okay.
But
I like that.
Yeah, on the singles side, to like win a slam in Arthur Ashe, like
that'd be pretty cool.
Number one.
No, to say the least. By the way, this is the bonus. Is that Lala gear up top?
This is not Lala.
Okay.
I had some sweats I was wearing that were Lala, but this is some cucumbers with some shades on.
Yeah. Some Picklemans.
Yeah. I got it at a running store. It's
Okay.
called Sprints.
Okay,
I'm not sure.
It's a
I,
good
I
look.
just bought it.
Yeah, yeah, that's
I saw it and I needed it.
Well, it's a must-have, and it's a good look, and it's good to see you, my friend Felix Corwin. Good luck this week. Always good to see you, my friend.
Thank you. Thanks, Alex.
Welcome back in, everyone. Media Day continues here at the 5th Annual Ellesse Pro Tennis Challenge. Joining me next here in our booth is a returning champ here at this Ellesse Pro Tennis Challenge. I believe finalist, I want to say, of this event last year.
A semi-finalist.
Semi-finalist of this event last year. Thank you for the clarification. But, of course, we know him best as, for much of the 2024 season, the #1 doubles player in the country, or half of the #1 doubles pairing, All-American in his final season at Wake Forest, but a player of the year during his time at JMU as well. It's Holden Kuhns joining us here once again for Media Day. Holden, first of all, it's good to see you, my friend. Talk me through how it feels to be back here for a second year at this event.
Yeah, well, thanks, Alex. It's always fun to have cracked rackets here, so thanks for coming back out. Yeah, I mean, this event is pretty unique, I would say. So I don't know how many times you'll see, like, this quality of tennis in someone's backyard.
Yeah.
So to be a part of it is pretty special. I'm grateful for Ryan giving me the opportunity the last 2 years. And yeah, I look forward to getting to play against some great competition and seeing how my game stacks up.
Absolutely. If I can ask you to lift your mic a little bit, just closer to your mouth. Perfect. I appreciate that. I know our producer, I can hear him screaming it from our room. But you talk about, again, being back here for a second year. You were born an hour from here, and to be able to play in an event like this in maybe not exactly your local community, but local community tangential, and just to be here in an intimate setting like this, what does that mean to you? What do you think that means to this community to have an event like this year in, year out now?
Yeah, so I think it's nice to be included in it. And
Yeah,
my first the first couple years they had this. I came as a hitting partner and got to see it all. I mean, it was so cool to see, like, Dennis Kudlow was here.
Kumar Ramanathan.
Yeah, so like it almost seemed like it was like unattainable at first, and then being able to have my game progress to a point where I could be included in this is it's very special for me and very fulfilling. So yeah, I mean, I consider myself like a PA guy. I mean, this is sort of this is Central PA. Yeah. This is my territory growing up in.
Neck of the woods, sure.
So yeah, I played a lot of high school tennis in this area as well. Played a lot of the schools up here. So I think there are a lot of familiar faces up here that come out and watch. Yeah. So it's cool to see them at this point in my tennis career.
Yeah, and I love to hear about your journey from hitting partner now to, again, semifinalist, potentially winner of this event this year if things break correctly. Obviously, you did a lot of winning in 2024, and not that you hadn't in the past. Again, Conference Player of the Year at JMU. biggest difference between your experience at Wake Forest and your experience at JMU? How did those two things differ? Because again, in theory, both college tennis experiences. What'd you learn from that 1 year?
Yeah, I definitely wore two different hats.
Sure.
And it's funny, every year of my college experience has been so different. This year, you know, it was more of like more of the role player on the team.
Sure.
I mean, I wasn't so much of a centerpiece. I was able to be an asset in doubles. I didn't expect that, but I mean, I had some great coaching that really allowed me to excel in doubles. And then I kind of slid into this like 5-6 singles spot where I had never played bottom of the lineup somewhere else. So getting to do that was a little bit different. Like I had to work to make sure I was playing singles. I mean, we had a great lineup. I mean, we could have put out our 6 guys in any order, but we were all pretty close. So we all were competing for like top 3, and it worked out that I was playing 4, 5, 6. But I mean, the benefit of that is you're going to win a little bit more probably.
Sure.
So it was nice to be a part of that and be like a crucial piece of our team's success.
What was a more difficult role for you, being the guy at JMU or being one of the guys? Now, not that you didn't, again, you, I think, combined singles and doubles had the most wins of anyone on the team in the spring for Wake Forest. So that's not to say you weren't the guy for them last year, but you're not the #1 guy. You're not wearing that mantle of all the pressure and all the eyes on you. How did those two roles differ, or what was the more enjoyable one for you?
That's a great question. I don't know. Like, it's like both felt very similar.
Okay.
Playing, smaller conference #1 versus playing ACC number 5, 6.
Yeah.
And it probably Wake was a little bit more. It was just a little bigger, just because our team had so much success.
Yeah, sure.
I think we definitely exceeded expectations, and that just made it pretty fun. I mean, I had great times at JMU, and playing one, I always had a great match in front of me at top of the lineup. So it was different from that point of view, but I like both.
Yeah.
And
you sign up for either one again?
I would do either again, and I was the whole COVID year thing turned out to be a big positive for me, getting to have both experiences to compare. So.
No, and I should have mentioned at the start of my intro, joined now by Master of Communications, Holden. If he completed that master's degree, congratulations to you, my friend. Yeah, you should be leading this interview. Talk me through a year of Tony Bresky, and no disrespect to you, Tony, who my fondness for you. You're Brian Baker coaching. Just like, what was it like to get to pick those two minds in particular? Certainly, in the case of Tony, one of, if not the best college coach we've had of the last 2 decades. In the case of Brian, former top 50 player in the world, and just this respected voice in so many coaching circles. What was that experience like? What growth did you see in your game to get those 2 new voices?
Yeah, I think Tony saw something in my tennis game that like no one ever had like seen it in me before, as far as just like getting me to believe in myself and just motivate me, and honestly our whole team. He's just he's very confident and one of our biggest advocates, I would say. So all year long, like we believed we belong on the top stage of college tennis. So making Final Four to us was like we expected to be there, just with how he operates our program. Brian is just like, the guy's tennis know-how is probably some of the best I've ever been around. Yeah. The way he broke things down, just like technique, and just like, I would call it almost like ball development wise, just working on the quality of how you hit. Yeah, he was so good from all that. And then like, I was lucky enough to have him on my doubles court most of the year, and he could really pick out how to approach our opponents, where to serve, what kind of returns were going to be open in the court for us. Do you need to press here? You got to be solid here. All that, like the timing of all of it. Like our double success was very much due to him as well. Yeah. So I feel very lucky to have had both Tony and Brian around me.
I can only imagine what that's like. And after doing so much winning, I can only imagine what the itch to keep playing must be like. Because you make Final Four indoors, you make Final Four NCAAs, you are #1 in the country in doubles. Did that increase your desire to play after school? Was that always a plan for you? And now that you are done with your college career, where does your relationship with tennis go from here?
Yeah, it's still kind of up in the air. I mean, like, I think Wake was a really good experience for me to see what the highest level of college tennis looks like, and it's a great place to transition into pro tennis. So I think the exposure I had there was perfect. The coaching was perfect. I mean, they've sent a ton of players onto the Futures Tour and then past that. So yeah, I'm still sort of figuring out some details of how all that works, but the motivation for it all is 100% there. They, again, like as far as like instilling belief in us, like that's always there. So like the expectation is you come here and play, you're gonna go be a pro.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's all there.
No, I imagine what that must be like for you, and to obviously you played a couple money tournaments, I know, this summer, but
Yeah.
to get to be here and start off playing this event, are there futures on the horizon for you? Or is there going to be a little bit of push down this fall? Have you made that determination yet? What does your schedule from a tennis perspective look like these final 3 months of 24?
Yeah. I'm eyeing up some various plans.
Okay.
I mean, I'll probably be putting them together here this weekend or start next week.
Okay.
Might do a South America trip here. I'm not on some red clay. I'm not sure, or might stick in the U.S. or all these guys are going to like Tunisia to start off at some point. So maybe it's one of those types of deals.
It's a rite of passage. You have to spend at least 6 weeks there.
yeah. So I'm not sure what it looks like just yet. I have ideas and plans. I'm just trying to sort out some last details. So
very cool.
Yeah.
I like to hear that. Well, then my final 2 questions for you this week. Your goals in playing these next 2 days of tennis. Obviously, no one shows up here not to win the event, but what are you hoping to take away from your matches over the course of the next 2 days?
Yeah, I think very similar to last year, just sort of see where my game stacks up against some of these top 500, top 300 players in the world. So I don't get to see that every day, even in college. I mean, some of the guys might have that quality of tennis in them, but they're not ranked there. So to know you're playing against that is good to see. And then even if you are kind of getting pushed around a little bit, just knowing like where you're suffering a little bit and what needs to be worked on. Because if you're going and playing 6 in college, maybe you're not going to get pushed around the same way. So, so being able to see where your weakness is for sure very important.
No, makes sense. Well, my last question for you. Talked about this a little bit with you last night. I'm going to ask this to every player we get the chance to speak with. You can capture one. Olympic gold medal in singles, first slam singles title. Which does Holden Kuhns pick and why?
We talked about this a little bit, yeah. I think I stick to the gold medal. I don't know, like, that might just be like the real American in me or something. I don't know, like.
The central PA in you?
Like the U.S. Open and Wimbledon would probably be very tough.
Yeah.
But Australian and French, I think I'm taking the gold over these two.
I like that. No, nuance in the answer. That's very Holden Kuhns-esque.
Yeah.
Certainly, I've told you this already, but to get to see all of your success, not that it was unexpected given you were playing in where you were playing in the lineup, but it was awesome to see all year long, and certainly great to get the chance to catch up with you here. Looking forward to watching you compete. So Holden Kuhns, great to see you, my friend.
Thanks, Alex.
Good luck to you this week.
Yeah, thank you.
Welcome back in, everyone, to our final interview of Media Day here at the 2024 Ellesse Pro Tennis Challenge. Joining me now, two-time ATP Challenger champion, fresh off of a Bundesliga season. It's Jan Schwinski joining me here in the booth. Jan, first of all, thank you for taking the time to join us today. Talk me through first 48 hours here at this Pro Tennis Challenge. Have you enjoyed this intimate setting? What have you thought of the event so far?
Well, yeah, 100%. So we arrived Tuesday night. Had a long travel day. You know, we had a flight into JFK from Frankfurt, Germany, so got picked up by tournament staff, and then, you know, because of the rush hour time and everything, our drive from New York was supposed to take 2.5. It ended up being more like 4.
Okay.
So we got in late. Didn't see the setup here, and you know, the first evening, so like I just went out. You know, they had a clinic going on with the kids, the underprivileged kids from the town, you know, which this tournament supports as well. So went out there, you know, felt really tired at that time, so had a good night's sleep, and then showed up here yesterday. And I must say, like, you know, the whole setup and everything, it's just stunning, you know. We at first we just saw the house from the front. We thought, you know, like, wow, what a nice house. And then we entered the backyard through the garage, and it just was just beautiful, you know. The court's great, you know, all the gardening here, you know, the intimate setup. Yeah, it just feels, you know, great to be part of this event, and we've been taking care of them pretty well, you know. There's plenty of food, you know, nice people around, guys to practice with. Well, can't complain about anything.
No, I mean, it's certainly made better too by your presence as well. We're happy to have you here, and we're glad to hear that you're enjoying yourself so far. And look, you're coming over from Europe, where you were playing, whether it's Challengers, whether it's Bundesliga, obviously U.S. Open qualies on the horizon starting next week. How does an event like this help you in your preparation for qualies next week?
I mean, yeah, for sure. You know, last year, I mean, I couldn't call it a mistake, but I played a long clay court season, so ended up winning the last clay court challenger just before the US Open, and then arrived at the US Open with only having like 3 or 4 practice days, and sadly didn't get any matches in before my first round match. So I didn't really feel comfortable, you know, in my game on hard court, and that's what the match just reflected. I had an early loss in the first round of qualifying last year, so met Ryan, who's one of the organizers here in Salzburg. In summer, playing the challenger there, and he was telling us all about the tournament here, and I just thought, you know, maybe if it all works out, this would be a great opportunity to maybe not make the same mistake again, but maybe to just get like 2-3 matches in, no matter how the outcome of the matches is. But at least, you know, you go into the US Open knowing how it feels, you know, knowing how match play feels on hard court after not playing on it for I think my last match on outdoor hard court was at the beginning of the year when I played the Australian Open. So
okay, so it's been some time.
Yeah, been some time, but yeah, I'm happy to be here, and just happy to get some matches in.
I love to hear that. I'm curious for you. Obviously, I've watched the film coming into this, but getting to even see in person the big serve, the big forehand, you know, those are your money makers. How much time do you spend in practice focusing on those two things in particular versus filling out the rest of your skill set, versus maybe working on the defense, maybe working out of pushed in the corners? You know, how does that breakdown look for you in practice, maximizing the strengths versus kind of working on everything else?
I mean, to be honest, like the forehand is, let's say 50% of the ground strokes. You know, of course you've got your slice here, slice there, but in the end, you know, it's forehand, backhand. So like even if you don't 100% only focus on your forehand, you're still hitting it evenly, you know, if not more, because you're trying to hunt the forehand. But I feel most important is really hitting forehands in practice, and really having that in your mind that you're wanting to, you know, dominate with that side, and
Sure.
trying to put some damage onto the opponent, and not, you know, just playing for the sake of just hitting balls, and not really having something in the back of the head what you really want to do with it. So yeah, forehands for sure. I mean, practice that a lot. Backhands evenly, maybe, you know, maybe 60-40 or something.
Sure.
And then serves, for sure, that's a big thing in men's tennis. So, you know, whenever I can, I just try, you know, to get a basket of serves as well. Play a lot of sets in practice. I try to, because that's what I like doing. And you've got serves there, but of course, you know, you feel what's not working out, what spot is maybe not working out in practice, and then just afterwards you just get a basket and hit a bunch of serves.
Yeah.
Which weren't working out that so well that day or the past week or something, and then that's how I just keep going with it.
No, I love to hear that. You just got off that Bundesliga experience, and I must have asked you 15 questions about that yesterday, so I won't rerun you through all of them today. I am curious, money aside, so you're not factoring in that money as you make this decision. If you could spend all year long playing Bundesliga tennis versus all season long playing ATP Challenger, ATP Tour level individual events, which would you pick and why?
I mean, that's a very difficult question, you know. I like tennis as it is, being an individual sport, you know, like you're concentrating more or less, you know, on yourself, trying to improve wherever you can, and touring, you know, on the Challenger Tour or whatever tour you're traveling on, and just trying to, you know, do as good as you can for yourself, you know. Whereas, you know, the Bundesliga is more of like a team spirit, team atmosphere, you know. Even though we're like individual players, we tend to always, you know, have a team that sticks around, especially in our club in Cologne, which with players that have been playing for our team for the past couple of years, you know, so we all know each other throughout the year. When we see each other during tournaments, you know, we tend to hang around together, practice together as well, because, you know, we just know, you know, we know each other better than other players would know each other that don't spend so much time during the summer playing Bundesliga. We travel together, you know. We've had longer travel days as well, where we had to drive from Cologne to Berlin, for example, and that's like a 5-6 hour car journey, you know, and we do different kinds of stuff together. So the whole setup of the Bundesliga is just like, you know, it's a big family in Cologne as well. So we just enjoy playing together, supporting each other, you know, courtside, and yeah, I mean, it's just great, you know, having that in summer, and then in between, you know, everyone travels to tournaments, plays the Challengers or the ATP tournaments, and then comes back there for the weekend. Yeah. And it's just great couple of weeks, to be honest.
So the answer would be best of both worlds?
Yeah, 100%, yeah. So it's you know, I'd appreciate it being a little bit longer, actually, you know, the Bundesliga season, but sadly it is what it is, you know. In tennis it's only 6 weeks maybe. Yeah. But those are good intense 6 weeks, which you know, load you up with a lot of positivity and fun for the game.
I love that. Well, my last two questions for you. First is, obviously we talked a little bit about how this week fits into your preparation for US Open qualies, but talk me through what the schedule looks like for you for the remainder of 2024, what you're hoping to accomplish to wrap up this season.
I mean, you know, my biggest goal is to improve the level of my tennis. Not as much concentrating on points, of course, you know. I want to make points and climb in the rankings as well, but I think that all comes with improving my level. So I'm going to play the US Open. I may take a couple of days off afterwards, depending on how it goes, and then regroup, you know, for the rest of the season, and then really put in some quality training weeks in between playing some tournaments. But I may do like 2 weeks of tournaments, a week of practice, something like that, just to get in a little bit more practice, you know, hopefully get some new input during practice, and then see if I can raise my level and how that applies to playing tournaments then.
I love to hear that. Well, then my final question for you, it's something I wanted to ask every player here this week, have a little fun with you all to end the interview. You can win one of these two things. Which do you pick and why? First Grand Slam singles title or Olympic gold medal in singles?
That's a good question, but I'd take the Grand Slam title.
Right?
Yeah.
It has to be, because...
Yeah, just to pick up the check, you know?
That's a good... I guess the question is, what mattered more in Great Britain? When Murray won 2012 Olympics, or when he won that U.S. Open right after? It was probably pretty close. I guess Olympics in
I'd ask another question. What did the Brits like more, him winning the
Wimbledon or
Olympic gold?
Yeah.
In Wimbledon or winning Wimbledon?
At Wimbledon, yeah. That's.
So
I defer to you. Of the two of us, you're the Brit.
I'd say Wimbledon.
Okay, so
the Wimbledon.
yeah.
Not the Olympics at Wimbledon.
Yeah,
I think, you know.
No, I think you're probably right.
Yeah.
It's like, so Felix Corwin earlier said if he could pick doubles slam or doubles medal, he'd take doubles medal. But if it was singles slam or medal, he'd take the singles slam. And I actually think somehow that logic makes sense to me.
Yeah. I mean, yeah, for sure. No, but like if you ask me about, you know, either to get a Grand Slam title or the Olympic gold, you know, and I said just for the check because, you know, it makes life a lot easier afterwards.
Sure.
You know, you can just, you know, if you love playing tennis, you know, you can invest it back into tennis as well. You know, it's not that you want to become a big spender suddenly, you know, and just like, you know, blow it all, but you can spend that money, you know, the right way, you know, improve your team, improve everything. Whereas winning the Olympics for sure is an amazing experience, and not many people get to do it. But I think not. I mean, I'm a huge Djokovic fan, so like what he did now with that Olympic title, I was so happy for him as well. But like in terms of the tennis and everything, it's just it must be a Grand Slam.
I think I agree with you, and certainly again, it's been a fun question to ask. I appreciate your answer, and I appreciate you taking the time to chat with us. Appreciate you coming here this week, Jan Chwinski. Good luck this week.
Thank you,
and appreciate you joining us.
Thank you.